lie inside those unrehearsed moments of truth. Nobody really believes that everybody's life is super shiny and sparkly all of the time. So we were living that moment together. It was very honest, it was very raw. Some days we laughed, some days we cried, some days Boris shocked us and the world seemed to fall apart a little bit more, and other days there was a little bit of hope and light at the end of the tunnel, and we did that together. Welcome to the Spotlight series, season 2 of the Showbiz Side Hustle Podcast, where each week we meet one of the brilliant co-authors and creatives behind Spotlight on Success, the Performerpreneur book that's redefining what success looks like both in and out of the showbiz spotlight. I'm your host here, Nicole Louise Geddes, and in these special episodes we learn even more about the stories behind the sequins. Raw, honest, powerful reminders that the end of one act is only the beginning of another. So listen in as we chat challenges and triumphs and inspire you to shine in any spotlight you like. Hello and welcome back to the Spotlight series, the special season of the Showbiz Side Hustle Podcast, where for the past 18 episodes, I have had the pleasure of shining a light on the 13 co-authors and 3 creatives who believed in my vision to get a best-selling #1 book. That book, Spotlight on Success, launched back in July, and since then we have not stopped collectively shouting about its success and the real stories inside that boldly share the behind-the-scenes tenacity, drive and dedication that led each individual to reinvention. Today's episode is a little different because awkwardly the spotlight is on me. I am Nicole Louise Geddes, performer turned multi-passionate entrepreneur, founder of Performerpreneur and Manic Stage Productions, and the woman who simply could not let a global pandemic beat her. Performerpreneur was born at a time where the entertainment industry stood completely still. But I could not and would not simply sit back and relax. I made it my personal mission to support performers to pivot with purpose and pride. In this episode, I'm answering your questions, the ones you've sent in from across the Performerpreneur community. We're talking about identity, business, burnout, the big dreams, the quiet pivots, the courage to change direction, and the journey that led me to creating this collaborative book. If you're a performer standing at a crossroads, feeling the nudge to evolve, or simply curious about the truth behind my own path from stage to page, then this episode is for you. Sit back, listen in as I reluctantly step into the podcast spotlight with you. There you go, everybody. Here we are. What an intro. So I am here, as I've just said, to shine a light on myself and my own journey from stage to page. Over the past 18 episodes, we have spoken to the other 13 co-authors and the 3 creatives about their own experience in being part of the Spotlight on Success collaborative best-selling book. And so it's only right that I should also share a little bit of my journey, my wisdom, and my experience with you guys so that you can get a full picture of all of us involved. And so I have a few questions from the Performerpreneur community. I did think about getting somebody to come into the podcast and ask me them, but in full transparency, I've been a little bit unorganized and hadn't got round to pinning that down. So I've just simply took the questions, they're here in front of me, and I will talk you through them one by one. And it's not rehearsed, it's very much ad lib, and I'll just be completely genuinely honest about the journey, about the collaboration, about my own experiences from stage to entrepreneurship to page. And hopefully you will leave this podcast feeling enlightened, excited for your own pivot and your own journey into the unknown. And just like the other 18 episodes have all very, very wonderfully said and expressed, the journey itself, becoming a co-author of this best-selling book, was such a special and unique time. We were guided so brilliantly and beautifully that at the end of it, it was impossible for any of us not to feel real clarity and real achievement and emotion surrounding what we've been through over the course of many, many years, many, many decades through our lives as performers, as people, as pivoters, and whatever we've decided to do and be on the other side of that stage door. So please do go back and listen to the other episodes, because there is something for everyone. Everybody's life and journey and path and career have been completely different. And I think that is the magic that we bring to this book, that anybody, performer or not, will be able to relate to something, someone, some experience that has been beautifully and boldly written in the pages of Spotlight on Success When Passion Meets Purpose. It's such a special project for me. And yeah, without me whittering on too much, let's go to some of the questions. I've got a question here from Kate. It says, "You've lived the dream." I mean, yeah, no, don't we all? So it says, "You've lived the dream, choreographing in New York City, producing at sea, building a global entertainment career. At what point did you realize your dream was allowed to evolve?" And it's a great question, and it's basically the premise of the book. There is no right or wrong time to dare to dream bigger, to dare to dream differently. When did I specifically allow myself to evolve? I think I've always had that in me. I've always wanted a little bit more. I've always been intrigued about what's over the other side of the fence or through the stage door. It's been a little bit of a part of me from a very young age at just being curious. So I think that's probably the fact that I have had this dream life, and it's my own dream. It might not match your dream, but it's certainly followed my dreams and moved from performer to entrepreneur to traveling to producing at sea, just becoming an author, creating a podcast, just always letting myself believe that if I give it a go, then what's the worst that can happen? Let's at least try and succeed. So, Kate, I hope that answers your question. And if you're thinking about your own pivot and your own dreams, just allow yourself to dream bigger than you actually think you can and dare. Because it's like that saying, if you shoot for the, I don't even know the saying, if you shoot for the moon, you'll land amongst the stars. Yeah. So just go that little bit further with your manifesting, a little bit further with your dreaming, and then you will find your way there. And what's the worst that can happen? You're going to at least get further than you are if you just sit comfortably in that comfort zone without allowing yourself to evolve or explore what the possibilities that much further could be. Okay, so Chloe's got a question. "A lot of performers feel guilty stepping away from performing. How did you give yourself permission to change?" Well, if you've read the book and you've read my chapter, I stepped away from performing prematurely. And I've used that statement a lot over the years. Like, as people ask me, "What do you do? What was your background? Oh, did you used to perform?" Yes, I left the industry prematurely, is something that I have often found myself saying, because in the eyes of everybody else around me, my peers, my parents, people that have supported me to be a performer, it would have felt really kind of quick and done and dusted, probably, as I say, prematurely, too soon. But for me, I couldn't ignore the feelings that emerged once I'd set foot and started to perform professionally. They came on quite quickly, and I speak about them in my chapter. I absolutely adore the industry. I absolutely adore the experiences that I had, but it was very apparent very quickly that I wanted something different for myself, and I had to give myself permission to change. So in respect to your question, when and how did I give myself permission to change? I knew very early on that it wasn't necessarily the right part of the industry for me, but I didn't allow myself to change at that exact time. But I did hear the inner calling that there was more for me. It took me a little bit more time than that to give myself permission, because I wanted to succeed in the way that the industry and my peers and my family perceived success to be. So I did pursue it a little bit longer, but I think I checked out. And I think the experiences that I had led me to produce professionally really well, like to travel as a choreographer and to create entertainment. I think actually that staying in the industry longer than before I checked out of it and mentally did help me to build that business that I had a good few years later. So I think when it comes to permission, it all has to click together. The mind, the body, and the soul all has to come together at that point. But you can nurture that and allow yourself to be brave, to give yourself permission to change, and not give that permission to other people. Like, don't give that validity, don't give that to other people to express when they think it's right for you. Like, you have to be in tune and align with you. I can tell this episode's going to be a little bit rambly, guys, but stick with me because I've got gold to share. I think it's really important that you hear this really authentically and naturally, and it's not rehearsed, because that's where the best bits lie, inside those unrehearsed moments of truth and authenticity. So I've got a third question from Alex. Alex says, Performerpreneur began as a survival course during a global pandemic and is now an industry movement. What do you think made it resonate so deeply with performers from all genres? Thank you, Alex. You have been a long-standing member of the free community, so I'm really grateful for your question. You would have been there at that moment where I set up Performerpreneur in the pandemic. So when you say, what do you think made it resonate so deeply with performers from all genres? Well, let's be honest, it resonated because we were all absolutely stood still. Like I said in my intro, the industry had gone dark. There was nothing for us to do. There was no way of being creative and expressing ourselves in our traditional roles as performers, as singers, as circus artists. And we were all locked in our homes, having to find new ways of doing things. And so it resonated because I was very real about that. I came on every single day at 10 a.m. with my eyelashes on. And spoke openly and candidly to whoever was there to listen, to offer them support. So it resonated because there was no smoke and mirrors. We were living that moment together. It was very honest. It was very raw. Some days we laughed, some days we cried, some days Boris shocked us and the world seemed to fall apart a little bit more. And other days there was a little bit of hope and light at the end of the tunnel. And we did that together, as Alex, you will remember. And then it did turn into a course, an actual course to create businesses. But ultimately, Performerpreneur is a community. It's always been about heart-led. It's always been about passion and purpose. And I'm just a huge advocate for bringing people together and showing that collaboration and community beats competition every single time. And so the few people that, because I mean, let's be honest, the entertainment industry is huge, thousands and thousands of people. For the few thousand that found me and stuck with me, the fact that resonated so deeply was possibly that community collaborative feeling that you don't necessarily get across the industry. And some people really, like me and like you, really thrive of being part of something bigger than just themselves. So I think that's where that beautiful moment in such a chaotic and dark time created such light for so many people. Alex, yourself and myself included. Question number 4. What are the biggest mindset blocks you see performers struggle with when pivoting, and how do you help them break through? Great question, Susie, and I have helped you. We've had a couple of one-to-ones, so it's a great question and one that you know the answer to. How do I help people break through? How did I help you break through? Just again, by listening, supporting, and showing that there is another way, that there is another spotlight, and just having somebody who gets it. And I too, coaches have coaches, I too have somebody that I speak to and lean on and share with, because in our families and in our circles, people don't get it as much as, maybe somebody who's a step ahead of you actually understands and gets what you're going through. So the biggest mindset blocks are feeling like a failure. I think that is the bit that everyone comes up against at some point. If they feel like they want to pivot, then they failed in what they were originally pursuing. And I just chip away at that thought and chip away at that narrative and say, well, really? Because I think if you stick there where you're not happy or you're not fulfilled, or you've ran its course and it's not kind of leaving you with joy, then that's more of a failure in many people's eyes, to stick and do that same thing time and time again. If it's not working, you need to change it. And by opening your heart and your eyes and evolving, you really are becoming free and stepping away from those blocks and those struggles. And that could be into entrepreneurship, that could be into motherhood, that could be into different avenues of performing. There's no right or wrong when it comes to pivoting, but that breakthrough piece is just finding someone a step ahead of you that can say, I get it, I've been there, you're doing fab, you're gonna be okay, let me support you. And Susie, it's been a pleasure to support you too. Question 5 from Ben. For someone who has the passion but no idea where to start, what's the first step to turning their passion into purpose? Ooh, Ben, it's a good question. And I'm gonna guide you to a freebie that I've got actually, which is the Dream Big Workbook for performers that pivot. It's a great place to start. I will put that in the comments in the podcast blurb below. So if you don't know where to start, it really is about sitting in silence and trying to dream and think and let your mind roam and roll in directions that you haven't dared give yourself time and space to think about. And if you think back to the pandemic, when the first wave of performerpreneurs took flight, we had that stillness, we had that silence, we had that space to think about what else we could do, because we were really in a position where, as I said, entertainment wasn't happening. So what else can we do? What else can fulfill us? What else can we pivot into? Where else can we find joy? Where else can we get paid? And so that time and that space is what I'm suggesting you find. And gosh, we definitely do not want another pandemic scenario. But if you can appreciate how that helped people at that point understand what else they could do, what else they wanted, what else life could look like, then I feel like you need to stop and give yourself some time and space to really work that out for yourself. If you are at the beginning of this process where you know that there's a pivot coming or there's a pivot in you, but you don't necessarily know how to connect that passion and that purpose piece, check out the workbook. Obviously, hold your hand up and lean in and I will support you. But first and foremost, sit quietly with yourself and dare to dream big. Dare to let your mind roll and wander outside of the realms of what you're doing right now and what's working for you. What else could that be? What are you good at? What do you like? What do you feel? Where do you see yourself? And it's really quite exciting. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see, like, I'm so passionate about this. Like, please, Ben, go do this. Grab a glass of wine, a cup of coffee, meditate, go lie on a sun lounger, whatever that looks like for you, walk in the woods, and just don't let your brain stop when you think that's it. There's no more, it's not realistic to want more. Please keep going, and you'll find the answers to where your passion and your purpose could really, really easily connect. Okay, Tara's in with question 6. You've been featured on podcasts, spoken on global stages, and now launched a collaborative book. What moment has felt the most exciting for you? Tara, gosh, it's all super exciting. It's all beyond my wildest dreams. Apart from, like I've just said to Ben, I push my dreams and allow myself to get excited about things that don't seem possible. And I don't know how many people manifest here, but I do like a vision board. I do like to manifest. I do like to dream big. I do put these things out into the universe, and then I find ways to see if I can reach them. I'm brave and I dare to try new things. So yes, I have done some incredible things. I am loving the podcast. We're on our 70 something, I should know this, 70 something episode, and 100 episodes, it seems really close now, really real. Whereas right back at the beginning, I couldn't even imagine doing 1 episode, 10 episodes. I certainly didn't think I'd be getting to 50 and now nearing 100. So that's really cool. And the fact that I get messages and that these ripples are quiet and so kind of secret, like people are listening. And then when they're ready, they pop up and they come into my world. That's really special to me. And that's the same idea as with the book, like a secret weapon people can read. They don't have to shout about wanting to pivot, but they've got some support. And then when they've read it and they feel excited and they're ready to step into the community or step up for a one-to-one, they've got that kind of foundation of belief already built into them thanks to the book. And the book bit was really exciting and special to me because it's not just me. I never, ever, ever wanted Performerpreneur to be just me. I wanted it to be a collaboration, a community. And that's exactly what another part of this is. The book has brought 14 of us together to share our collective journeys and stories. And they're all very different, yet they all end in the same place, that if you allow yourself to evolve, if you allow yourself to grow, life will be what it's meant to be, and it's special and it's amazing, and you will be happy. And I think if all of us are saying the same thing, then it's going to be true for you too. So Tara, that was really exciting to see the ripples of both the podcast and the book, because not many people dare to step up and hold their hand up and say, I need help, I'm pivoting, I need support, with none of this kind of background of understanding of what Performerpreneur is and what is possible for them. So these two avenues give people that secret kind of road into something so magical and wonderful that the Performerpreneur community bring when you dare to step in. I'm going to take a breath. Okay, Oman. I see Oman on the list here. After 2 years living in Oman, how was stepping back and slowing down shifted the way you now build and lead Performerpreneur? And that's from Michelle. Michelle is from Oman with me, so I feel like some of these questions are loaded. Okay, after 2 years living in Oman, how has stepping back and slowing down shifted the way you now build and lead Performerpreneur? Michelle's absolutely right. For anyone that followed my journey on social media, my time in Oman was so special, and it was slow, and it was family orientated, and it was filled with space and time and reflection. It was just such a magical 2 years because of that pace, that slowing down, that the country on a whole is just very peaceful and calm. And so to have the experience of being in that space, in that feeling, really has brought me back to the UK as a different person. And now I spoke about slowing down in the pandemic, but there was also that fight or flight within us all because it was out of our control. There was a lot of unknown. So that space and time that I was gifted in Oman was very similar in one respect, because it let me see and dream and be and work out some clarity of what those next steps will be, but without that uncertainty, without that scary pandemic kind of wave that was going through us all. This was a choice, and it was a choice that I, absolutely wholeheartedly and 100%, loved. And it's brought me back to the UK, trying very hard to stay in that calm, collected manner that the country gifted me. But it's super hard. It's super hard here. Everybody's hustling. There's a whole rat race. Everybody's online, everybody's busy, no one's got time. And so I've been really pushing back from that and saying, no, that's not how I want to be. I've experienced this way of life and I want to bring that into the UK with me. But it is difficult. And so to answer your question, how has it helped me build and lead Performerpreneur? I've brought more community stuff back. We've got our matinee mixers. I really want people to be face to face. I want that conversation and that energy to flow. I love theatre. There wasn't a lot of theatre in Oman, actually, or the Middle East in general. It's definitely building, but that West End theatre show. So I've injected that into how I want my life to be, how I want the community to be. So we've got our face-to-face matinee mixers, followed by a matinee of a West End show, and that energy. I'm reviving the Facebook group, the free community, because people need people. And, whereas it's all felt like it needed to be numbers and figures and likes, again, Oman's gifted me that it doesn't need to be something as big or, as celebrated as it used to be. It can be a natural, organic flow of the people that need me know that I'm there. So I'm going back to my pandemic roots, actually, and I'm leading with calm, clarity. I am leading with consistency, and all those things that Oman again reminded me. That pace, just slow, calm and steady, consistent, happy, light, what brings you joy. And so that, Michelle, is what I've brought back from Oman and is what I am putting in place in Performerpreneur. So listeners, if you haven't yet joined the free Facebook group, please do go pop over to Facebook. It's Performerpreneur, the community. And then as and when you're ready, you can step into the club. And then we've also got the circle, which is the associates that I've brought in to help me as well. Because as I said earlier, it's not just about me. I want you to have people that get all different ideas and pivots that you might need support with. We're nearly there, ladies and gents. We've got 10 questions. We're on number 8 next. And creating this book was once a dream. What has surprised you most about bringing 14 performers together to tell one shared story of success and reinvention? Thank you, Kat. So what has surprised me the most? In fact, I've said it in a previous podcast, actually, what surprised me the most, but also what has felt the most amazing is how real and raw everybody dared to be. When I set out on this journey and I'm saying, when passion meets purpose, like what does success look like? There's a very, there was a very real chance, and myself included, and it's what I expected at the time, very real chance that everybody would just, polish it with gold, share the highlight reel, like a little bit like social media. Let's just share the best bits. And that would have been fine, because actually the mission of the book was to show that success happens on both sides of the stage door. And so if everyone had just come in with their bells and whistles and their super shiny lives, and this is how amazing it is, that would have worked. It was what I expected to happen. But what I didn't expect to happen, and what has surpassed my expectations and really, made this book the phenomenon that it is how real and raw everybody was about the whole picture. Yes, the spotlight in showbiz is amazing. Yes, the spotlights you create for yourself afterwards are amazing, but there are highs and there are lows in between, and everybody brought the raw, real part of life that I think has made the book the best it can be, because you can connect. Nobody really believes that everybody's life is super shiny and sparkly all of the time. However, we let ourselves kind of just let that wash over us, and we read it and we see it on social media. And so for this book to be deeper than that is really special, and I didn't expect it. And I'm so grateful for the co-authors to have brought their real and raw selves forward, and because it's brave, right? It's really brave. It's brave to say I've had really shit times. It's brave to say it wasn't all as good and glamorous as it might have been. It's brave to say that they were lost when they hit that kind of transition and pivot period. And it's brave to say how beautiful life has been on the other side, when they've really dug deep and pushed through and created that beautiful passion and purpose moments for themselves. So yes, that was the best surprise, the most beautiful surprise. And I just want to thank all of them again for daring to bring that, because you didn't have to. No one had to. No one said this has to be real and raw. Was you tell your story how you want to tell it. And nobody even knew what everyone else was going to write, and everybody still brought absolute honesty to the pages, and I'm super grateful for that. Okay, so one question that I have asked all of the co-authors in the podcast so far, and the creatives, so I'll ask myself my own question. Who do you hope will find the book, and how do you want them to feel upon reading it? So who do I hope will find the book, and how do I want them to feel? So the question that I've asked all of the co-authors and creatives, and we've all had very similar yet different answers. And mine is honestly anybody, because I know we've niched down, and I know it's for performers, and I know it's about performing and either side of the stage door, but the creative team aren't performers, and they have read the book and said this works perfectly for anybody at a transition, anybody at a period of pivoting. And I do believe that. Now I've read the book, because I've just said in the last question, because everyone's been so real and raw, it's not all about feathers and magic and spotlights and stages. It's about bereavement, it's about transition, it's about motherhood, it's about daring to believe, it's about dreaming. Honestly, all different ages are in the book. We've got, 20s right through to 40s, with different career paths, different stages of pivoting, some not even getting into the industry fully before they've had to pivot because of industry, some going right through to just get into that last gig in their 40s and going, oh my goodness, this is not for me anymore. Singing in front of royalty, like there's just so much in there that you can't help but be inspired, and you can't help but connect with one person or one story at the absolute minimum. So who do I want to read the book? Everybody that is open to evolving. Yeah, so that might be evolving in your career, in your personal life, as yourself. Like if you're just open to understanding different walks of life, different avenues, different experiences that might ignite something exciting in you, then please pick up the book. And how do I want you to feel? Excited. That is the word, actually. I want you to feel excited when you read the book, that there's so many possibilities. There is not one size fits all. There is not the narrative of success has to look a certain way that we've been told and taught from such a young age. This book blows that out of the water, and I actually think it's a relief to read. If you have got dreams that don't necessarily fit that mold or that box, it's a relief to read this book and go, do you know what? We can all do things differently, and we will end where we are meant to be. Okay, the final question. If you could speak directly to the past you, the version standing at the crossroads, what would you tell her about the spotlight still waiting for her? It's a lovely question. It's a lovely question to end on. And often when I'm speaking in podcasts, other people's podcasts, they ask me something similar. It normally goes like, what would you tell the younger version of yourself? Like, how would you guide her now? And I always say that I would get my younger version to speak to me as an adult, because she was absolutely like gung-ho. She just went for it. She did it. She was brave, she was fearless, she just gave everything a go. So if I could speak directly to her, I would say thank you. I'd say thank you to her for pursuing all these weird and wonderful and wild like ideas, dreams, decisions. And then I'd also pass that on to anyone listening. Like, please be brave. Don't have any regrets. Life is short, and we have started off on journeys and pursued careers that we perceive to be something that maybe they're not, or we're getting to the end of them and they've been incredible, but we're ready for a change, or your identity is shifting without your control. Like things are going to get in the way of that as well. So just be brave, have no regrets, try it all. And I know that's easier said than done as an adult with responsibilities, but there'll be ways and there'll be people that can support you to make sure that you do it to the best of your ability and that it is a success. So no regrets, just do it is probably the end line here. Your success will be beautiful. You'll find a spotlight. You have got all of the skills. You just need to transfer them into a new direction and be brave. Nobody wants to get to the end of their life and wish they had tried something, wish they had gone somewhere, wish they had done something. And if you look at my life, from moving countries to changing careers to launching podcasts to deciding I was an author and possibly considering going back into the audition circuit as an OAP in a few years, you'll just see that, there's a lot of life to be lived. So don't put yourself in one box. Give everything a go, and you will be rewarded for your tenacity. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed my very, very long rattling on podcast. Thank you to the people who sent questions in. There was loads more than that actually, and I just got Tom, the podcast producer, to just pick 10 because it's been a very busy few weeks for me. Next week I'm going to come in and I'm going to sum up the process on a whole. I'm going to thank and congratulate everybody that was involved and just end with a quick 15-minute podcast that will bring the second series to a close. But for now, it's been spotlight and all eyes on me. Thank you for picking up the book. Please do go buy it on Amazon if you haven't read it yet. There's 14 incredible chapters. I've got the book here, let me show you it, and go buy it on Amazon. Spotlight on Success When Passion Meets Purpose. It's a beautiful book and it's, as I say, very inspiring. So please do go and buy and read that. Go check out the other episodes of this fantastic series. I will end next week with a little rounding off of everything in series 2 before we head into Christmas and then come back with season 3 in the new year. How exciting. Everything has gone so quickly, so fast. I wish you loads of love and luck. Please do come and find me in the free community over on social media and buy the book. Big love. There you have it. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Spotlight series, where stories shine and success gets redefined. If you loved what you heard, hit like, follow, or subscribe. And be sure to grab your copy of Spotlight on Success over on Amazon. And don't forget to tag us at Performerpreneur across all socials. If you've been inspired today to step into a new spotlight, you can find a whole community ready to support you at performerpreneur.co.uk, as well as up-and-coming events and even more about each author. Until next time, stay bold, stay brilliant, and continue to shine.